Desolation Gas. Jake rubbed his tired eyes as he clocked in for his night shift at Desolation Gas, a lone gas station nestled in the backwoods of Tennessee. The air hung heavy with a sense of abandonment, thanks to the deserted buildings left in the wake of a new freeway that diverted traffic away from this once thriving stretch of road. Jake was used to the quiet nights, but little did he know, this night would be anything but ordinary. The clock struck 8, and the station sat eerily silent. The desolation outside matched the emptiness inside. Jake anticipated a peaceful shift. After all, the station's remote location meant fewer customers. He reclined in his chair, staring out at the dimly lit pumps. As the clock neared 11, the oppressive silence was disrupted by a distant sound. A strange noise echoed through the station, and Jake's curiosity outweighed his lethargy. He decided to use the remaining hour of his shift productively, opting to restock the nearly depleted inventory. The storage space, however, lurked in the basement, an area that always sent shivers down Jake's spine. With a flashlight in hand, he descended the creaking stairs into the murky darkness below. The storage room was cluttered, and as he fumbled through the shelves for the needed supplies, a chilling noise echoed through the room. Something fell on the opposite end, followed by the unmistakable sound of footsteps drawing closer. Fear clutched at Jake's chest. Panic fueled his ascent, and he slammed the basement door shut, securing it with a trembling hand. He stood, breathless, behind the locked door, heart pounding in his ears. The unsettling feeling lingered as he caught his breath. Seeking answers, he hurried to the store's computer to review the security footage. The basement camera revealed a man standing there, staring directly into the lens, a twisted grin on his face. His eyes betrayed a madness that set Jake on edge. He looked clean, not like the typical druggies who haunted the area, further intensifying the mystery. In a state of shock, Jake dialed the store owner. Reluctantly awakened, the owner's tone shifted from annoyance to concern upon hearing the fear in Jake's voice. He instructed Jake to lock the main entrance and keep an eye on the man until he arrived, armed with a shotgun. As Jake waited anxiously, the man in the basement continued to smile malevolently at the camera. Minutes felt like hours until he suddenly vanished from view. When the owner arrived, Jake let him in, and together they descended into the basement, weapons at the ready. To their bewilderment, the storage space was empty, devoid of any intruder. The owner dismissed Jake's terror as fatigue-induced hallucination, but Jake knew he hadn't imagined it. With a dismissive wave, the owner left, leaving Jake alone with his unsettling experience. As Jake geared up for his next shift, the fear lingered. The mystery of the smiling stranger haunted his thoughts, casting a shadow over the desolate gas station. He couldn't shake the feeling that the abandoned buildings, once thriving with life, held secrets that went beyond the visible scars of time. And so, as Jake prepared to face another night at Desolation Gas, the unknown lingered, and the gas station's desolation seemed to whisper stories of the past, leaving the young attendant with an inexplicable unease. The Malevolent Pit Stop. It was a moonless night when Jake and his girlfriend, Lily, found themselves in a small Texas city off the highway. The road had stretched on for miles, and the gas gauge begged for attention. Pulling into a dimly lit gas station, its flickering neon sign barely visible against the ink-black sky, they decided to make a quick pit stop for beer and snacks. As they parked, Jake felt an odd compulsion. Uncharacteristically, he turned to Lily and said, "I actually think I need to come in with you." He couldn't explain the sudden urge, but it hung in the air like a haunting whisper. Inside the station, the atmosphere seemed deceptively normal. They chuckled at the cardboard cutout of a half-naked Modelo girl, her face strangely pixelated. The couple bantered as they browsed the beer selection, but an unsettling feeling lingered, growing with each passing moment. Unable to shake off the unease, Jake hastily grabbed 2 coconut margarita drinks and rushed to the counter. The sense of being watched intensified, a malicious energy palpable in the air. An elderly Hispanic man, leaning on the ice cream cooler, fixated his gaze on every customer. Time slowed as the man's unsettling smile widened, his attempts at charm only adding to the discomfort. Beyond the glass doors, a man in a red jacket stood, his eyes fixed on the scene inside. The feeling of dread weighed on Jake and Lily, as if unseen hands were tightening around their throats. The people inside, the man in red outside. They were waiting, but for what? The man at the counter spoke in a peculiar manner, trying to exude friendliness, but emanating an otherworldly strangeness. It felt as if the gas station existed in a different dimension, a place where danger lurked beneath the surface. Feeling the gravity of the situation, Jake paid for the drinks, and they hastily exited the gas station. The man in the red jacket was still there, circling the building like a predator, his eyes locked on the departing car. As they drove away, the weight of the encounter sank in. The city they were in had a notorious reputation for human trafficking. Dread and paranoia filled the car, and a chilling realization dawned upon them. They had narrowly escaped a sinister fate. The conversation that followed as they navigated the night was somber, recounting the details of the encounter and realizing how close they had come to becoming victims. The gas station, with its flickering neon lights, disappeared in the rearview mirror, but the memory of that malevolent pit stop lingered, casting a long shadow over the rest of the night. Gas station terrors. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the Shell gas station as Sarah pulled in for a much-needed pit stop. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, illuminating the empty parking lot. Unfazed, she approached the pump, ready to fill up before heading home. Little did she know that this ordinary evening would soon spiral into a nightmarish encounter. The gas station, situated on a bustling street across from a grocery store, usually teemed with life, but today it seemed eerily deserted. Sarah dismissed the oddity, attributing it to the early evening hour. She swiped her card, the metallic clink signaling the beginning of a routine fueling. As the nozzle hummed, Sarah sensed a disturbance. The sound of an engine reverberated through the air, and a white sedan pulled into the parking lot, positioning itself just 20 feet from her car. A man with a Russian accent emerged, his gaze fixed on her. "You're very beautiful. Do you have a boyfriend?" he inquired, the words hanging in the tense air. Startled, Sarah, despite not having a boyfriend at the time, responded affirmatively. Politely declining his advances, she hoped to diffuse the situation. However, the man's tone shifted, turning aggressive. "Come here right now. Just come a bit closer. I just want your number," he demanded. Unease clawed at Sarah as she noticed the peculiar details about the man's car. Front windows untinted, back windows shrouded in an almost illegal darkness. Instinctively, she abandoned the fueling process and swiftly left the gas station, leaving the unsettling encounter behind, or so she thought. 2 weeks passed, and Sarah, opting for a leisurely stroll rather than a short drive, found herself walking home along the same street. The gas station, now just a memory, stood to her left. On her right, a small store selling truck canopies sat with its accompanying parking lot. As she approached the parking lot's entrance, a large Dodge truck pulled in, appearing to make a wrong turn. The driver, yet another man with a Russian accent, engaged her with a disconcerting question. "Do you have a boyfriend?" Sarah, wary from the previous encounter, responded firmly, stating her lack of interest. As she attempted to pass the truck, fear gripped her. The man's smirk turned sinister, and a large dog emerged from the vehicle, growling menacingly. The man insisted she come closer, claiming he couldn't hear her. Trapped between the truck and her apprehensions, Sarah made a split-second decision and sprinted back down the street toward her workplace, the truck speeding away in the opposite direction. Gas stations, once mundane pit stops, now harbored a sinister energy for Sarah. The encounters, both unsettling and potentially dangerous, left her questioning the shadows that lurked in the seemingly ordinary corners of her city.